Hello, today we're going to jump right into I had some lifting when I took off my last manicure. I had some lifting here, so I filed the lifted part off, and I've made this as even with my natural nail as I could. So now I'm just going to do some cuticle care, and then I'm going to do the builder gel fill. The rest of the nails don't need it. So I'm just going to do this one only because I had the lifting. Oh, is that more lifting? No. Yeah, I'm going to do the rest are fine. Oh, look, I'm still finding glitter everywhere. Okay, from this one. This was the Cascade Colorworks January box, their last one, and it was for New Year's. It was New Year. Look at that. Okay, anyway. So I'm going to prep my cuticles, and how we do that is we just push them back. Now this is gently. We're not forcing it. We're not, we don't want to hurt ourselves. Just gently push them back. And you see just that action alone has raised some of the white, some of the dead cuticle on there, which is what we have to get off. And to do that, we use our glass, where is it? There it is. Our glass cuticle stick. And this one's really pointy. I like that. I can get right in there and get just that spot because I'm pretty sure I got the rest where I had to file anyway. So I'm just going for the stuff right at the edges of the side walls and the cuticle area until we feel like we've gotten that all up. I usually keep going until I stop seeing this white stuff. Again, this is my me time. This is our self-care. So we're going to take our time and we're going to enjoy the process. You can't rush something like self-care or you're defeating the purpose. Again, I'm going to keep going until I stop seeing this white stuff come up. Now we could use this side too, push back the cuticle and then use this to pull out the dead materials here. It probably looks like I'm doing this a lot harder than I actually am. I do not abuse my cuticles. I spend a lot of time rubbing oil on them every single day. So, trust me, I'm not abusing them in any way. This is maintenance. This is prepping the natural nail for good adhesion on the builder gel overlay I'm about to apply. So, while I continue to do this, hello, my name's Ginger. This channel is devoted to the DIY nail community and me sharing my journey learning all about dip powders and how to apply using gel and dip liquids. I no longer use dip liquids because I'm pretty sure it gives me dip flu. I may try them again over the summer. I have plenty of them. But now I do the gel method when I apply my dip powders. Sometimes I use gel polishes on my daughter's manicures especially. Oh, that's another thing I do. I make videos that document my progress and my journey in learning all about how to do my own nails so I don't have to go to a salon. Sometimes I will also do live streams where I do my daughter's nails. I do a builder gel overlay for her also. So we wind up filling that when I get to see her. And okay, we don't want to take off the natural nail, so we're blending into the natural nail, not past to the top of it. So when I do her nails, we usually do a gel polish manicure on top of whatever overlay that I've filled for her. See, now this is starting to lift too. You have to be sure to get every piece that wants to lift, just so you get the adhesion you need on the fill when you do it. Sorry for the Halloween music that snuck in there on me. I kind of like this one, so that's okay. Every day is Halloween. Should I use my e-file to get that more flush with natural nail? Probably. This is my e-file, and I've got this on there already, which is perfect. That's what I want. So I'm going to set this on, let's see, keep it low, reverse it, because I'm on my non-dominant, I'm doing my dominant hand with my non-dominant hand. So with my left hand, we're going to go in reverse, and we're going to leave it at like a 4, because I want to very carefully just bring this flush with the natural nail so my fill takes. I'm being very careful not to touch my natural nail. I'm only touching product, and only so that I can get it as flush with the natural nail as possible. And again, this is to make sure that nothing I'm building over is lifting. As I do this, if any of these edges were going to lift, they would just come off. You probably get the idea, so I'll probably edit this a little bit so that you don't have to sit and watch me do this for too long. If you have ideas about how I could improve my videos, like if you would rather watch me do this entire process instead of me cutting in the video, leave a comment, let me know. I will definitely consider all those things. I'm just trying to share the parts of my journey that you find most interesting or helpful. Right now, let me turn this off. Right now I'm just recording the parts that it's more, I take the things I wish I knew when I first started this kind of approach to everything. Okay, so if you can see, that's a lot more flush now, and I'm confident that this isn't lifting. We're good. So now I'm going to take my alcohol and a lint-free wipe that you can get on Amazon. I have a page on my website that's dedicated to all the Amazon products that I use. I am not currently an Amazon affiliate. I go in and out of their affiliate program as the traffic increases and decreases. So sometimes you'll hit my links and they will actually be affiliate links, and sometimes they won't be. So there is a chance that whenever you're viewing this, if you use my Amazon links, they might be affiliate links. They may not. I really can't help you with that. I don't get enough traffic to them to keep them all the time. So there is that. Okay, see, I'm still able to lift the edges. That's not good. That's not what we want. Okay, I think I know what's happening here. I'm so afraid to file too far into my natural nail that I'm not getting enough of the lifted portion. And again, with practice, I think I'll get this down a lot easier. But because right now I'm so super cautious because I'm still learning that, yeah, this might take me a little bit longer than it takes other people. And I need to stress the importance of you giving yourself time to learn and make mistakes, because that's how a lot of us learn, is through the mistakes that we make. So you have to allow yourself that. And be nice to yourself. In my Facebook groups, I see people, you know, they're so hard on themselves when the designs that they're showing look good. And, you know, if you've only done 1 or 2 dips and this is the quality you're coming out with, we're looking at, we see your potential. We see ourselves in you when you post pictures of your very first dip or things like that. You know, and some people say, oh, that's not very good. Well, it is, for considering the fact that you've never done it before, you know. So don't let reactions to your first dip affect your passion for learning. See, I'm of Scottish heritage, so I won't quit out of principle. I will continue to suffer learning how to do this until I get it to the quality I like. Okay. I think now every time I do a fill, after I file, I take my alcohol soaked, not soaked, but alcohol on a lint-free wipe, and I get all of the dust out of the cuticle area. I will do an extra couple of swipes just to make sure that none of the dust I just created is stuck up or left in there, because if it is, it could cause lifting. See that? You gotta get that out of there. So I just take an extra minute, if that, just to make sure I've got the cleanest, smoothest surface. Well, not smoothest. Here's the thing. We're going to be putting gel base down, a thin coat of gel base. We're going to cure that for a minute, and then we're going to go in with our builder gel. That gel base will stick better if your nail is not smooth. So you want to rough it up a little bit with the coarse side. And notice I'm hardly touching it. I'm just looking to put some scratches in the nail that the gel base can stick to, especially in the new nail growth area. Okay, and then I'm going to take my alcohol wipe and make sure none of that dust gets stuck up in there. All right, now any of the scratches in the nail will be what the gel base sinks into and holds on to. Now, I've used different products to aid in my adhesion. I find these to work the best for me. The pH Bonder and Ultra Bond Primer by iGel Beauty. Okay, the one you want to put on first is the one that says apply to the natural nail surface to remove moisture and oil. So first you want to clean it. You want to dehydrate and all that. So in this case, it's the pH Bonder goes first. And I'm going to concentrate this on the natural nail portion that grew out, and where I had the lifting, that means that I have natural nail exposed in that area now. So again, this is a dehydrator. It's going to remove the oils to aid in the adhesion. Now see how that almost turned white? That's exactly what we're looking for. I can't believe I'm still getting lifting here. I'm going to do the same process all over. Oh. Alcohol. Now the Ultra Bond primer. Improve adhesion between natural nail and the artificial product. Works for acrylic and UV gels. So I'm just going to massage this into all the little nooks and crannies that my filing created, so that when the gel base goes in there and tries to stick, this will help it along the way. Just like that. Now I'm going to give that a good 60 seconds to dry before I go in with my gel base. Okay, that looks dry. So now we go in with our gel base. I drop it a little bit above where I want it to go, and then I push it into the cuticle area, and I stop just short of the cuticle. I like to leave a little bit of a hairline space between the actual cuticle and the edge of my application area. And gel base is your adhesion. It's what the next gel product sticks to. So keep it off your skin, but make sure you get it everywhere you want your, like in my case, the builder gel to stick to. And you only need a thin layer. So I'm gonna go cook that for a minute, and then I'll be putting on my builder gel. Okay, that's the gel base. Now I find my favorite brush. Looks just like that. This is my favorite brush for applying gels. Builder gel. Well, pretty much builder gel, yeah. And this is just, since I leave a little bit of gel base on the bristles to keep them healthy in between manicures, I take a little bit of alcohol and I clean the brush off, just like this. So that we're starting with fresh product. Okay, so let's see, here we go. I've got my gel base on there. Let me close that up. This is a HEMA-free builder gel that I got from Double Dipped, and it's clear. So I'm just going to take some on my brush. The brush that I use is allows me to be a little bit more precise than I can be with the one that comes with the bottle. So I drop it in the apex area so I can build that up again because I just filed it off pretty much. And I'm going to place the majority of the gel where I want it in the apex area. Try to nudge it back up there because it went down to the sides on me. Get this back over here and take off some of the excess. I've got too much on there. And I do want to push it back towards the cuticle area to make sure that this is actually a fill, because we're trying to fill in that space that occurs when I filed down the area where I had lifting. So I want to build that back up a little. So I scoop the gel up from the excess areas, get it on the brush just like that, and then I place it in the fill area where I want to build it up a little bit. See how I'm building it so that the natural nail area meets the rest. Now I'm just moving a little bit of the bulk down the nail. And we shouldn't worry too much about making our nails thick because we just filed them down as part of our prep, right? Right. And we are going to file again after the builder gel is cured. So we do have the freedom to mess up a little bit because anything that you mess up at this stage of the process, you can usually fix in filing. If I have extra, I always put it in this area right here so that it kind of forms a natural apex when I hold my finger upside down. All right, so now I'm just looking to make sure and see it's a little vacant where the natural nail meets the part that I had to file down, the very edge. So I'm just going to try to coax some more builder gel to that area to fill that in a little bit. That's better. Okay, now I'm going to hold it upside down for a few seconds just to see where it settles when it does its self-leveling trick that it does. You'll notice that I now have almond shape on my right hand. I was trying to have that match the coffin shape I have on this hand, but that was not working, so now I have an almond shape. I like almond when they're a little bit shorter. I don't like almond shape on me when they get to be this length. I'm enjoying having a little bit of a shorter nail on my right hand right now. All right, so it's self-leveled, and it's self-leveled well. Okay, looks like I don't really have much to clean up. I'm just going to let it continue to self-level by keeping it upside down. And I'm going to take my cleanup brush, little alcohol on there, and then I'm going to get this gel off my skin, which I didn't mean to get there, but stuff happens, right? I'm having trouble. Boy, working with your offhand is really challenging. And apparently you get better at it the same way you get to Carnegie Hall. Everybody knows what that is, right? Am I so old that I'm the only one that knows what that reference is for? My Uncle Charlie used to say that to me all the time. He's the one that taught me how to paint. He's the one that encouraged me musically. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, kid, practice. Well, how do you get a good manicure? By yourself, at home. Practice. Oh, I'll probably cut that out. All right, I'm going to give it another encouraging round of self-leveling into a natural apex for me. Hold it up a little bit so it fills in that blank area. Looks good. We're going to bake that for a minute and be right back. Okay. Now, what I'm looking at this point is this portion of the nail right here. I want to make sure that I don't have a dip or a groove that shows off where my fill took place. I feel like I can kind of tell a little, yeah. So it's time for coat 2 of the builder gel, and I'm just going to put it in that area this time. Remembering that I can file whatever needs to be filed. Like, you know, if I fill it in and there's a little bit of a bump instead of a groove, like, you know, if it's concave instead of whatever, then I can just file it down. In this case, more is better because if you don't have enough, the filing can't help you. But if you have too much, you can file it down. I hope that made sense. This is something that I don't think enough people do. Make sure that there's no groove there when you do a fill. I feel bad anytime I see somebody who's just done a fill and I can see it. I can see the groove in the nail where the fill happened. So it just makes me very careful not to let that happen on my nails. Or at least I try. Just because I try to do something doesn't mean I achieve it. I realize this. And we have to look at the nail from all angles, which is also challenging. So I'm going to let that settle for a few seconds, and then I'm going to take another look at it to see if I got that groove to fill in. That's better, but not perfect yet. Again, it's better to have more than you need than not enough. So this would probably be just enough, but I want to be able to file it down just a little to make sure that it's even and smooth. So I'm going to add a little bit here. And I'm going to pull most of it up into the apex area to make sure I have a nice apex. Having an apex on this nail is important because I want it to have the strength it needs in this area right here in order to support the area that I'm filling right now. The apex being right here adds a foundational strength and structure to your nail, so that when pressure is put on the nail, that part is extra strong so it doesn't give in on you and break. I was pretty sure I had my music on shuffle. That's the second time we've heard that song, though. what I do is I download the royalty-free music that YouTube lets us use, and I just put them on my Windows player in the background on shuffle and repeat so that I can do these real-time videos with a little bit of music in the background. It also, I mean, this is a lot that I'm doing right here, so it also gives me something to listen to. All right, so I'll be back after I cook this for another minute. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Well, I did get an apex. And I'm having a pretty hard time seeing where my fill was. I see that I got a little bit too much, my gel is touching my cuticle. That's not good. All right, so what do I do about that? Now that it's baked, not a lot. As my nail grows out with this builder gel on my cuticle, it could cause lifting again. It's probably what I did last time. And this is, I think this happens to me because I'm using my left hand to apply. But if you're going to do your own nails, this is something you have to learn to deal with. So I'm just pulling the skin away from where the gel cured. Just trying to make, to separate the gel from the skin. Which I've just increased my exposure to getting a gel allergy. But there's nothing I can do about it at this point. It's already done, so. Separate the skin as much as you can from whatever gel is left on there. The idea is not to cure the gel on your skin. I failed miserably at this. All right, so I think that looks pretty good, actually. I don't think I'll need to file that at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my top coat on right now, because before I can do a manicure on this hand, I have to add my peel base. I use 2 coats of und peel base over my builder gel with shiny top coat, because that is the smoothest surface I can create. And when you're using peel base, you want the smoothest surface you can create to put it on, because it'll work better that way. All right, so this is my top coat. I'm going to drop the majority of it in the apex area, and then I'm going to push back to the cuticle area without touching it this time. That was like a reminder to myself. I sometimes think people at my day job think well, I am strict. And some people might think I'm mean sometimes. It's like, you have no idea. I am so much meaner to myself than I am to anyone else on this planet. It's amazing. Okay, we're letting the top coat self-level as well. I'm a bit freaky about letting my gels level because if we do this right, it's less filing, and that is always my goal. So that looks good, looks good. All right, I'm gonna bake this for a minute, and then I'll be back to see the final look before my und peel base, which I'll include that in the next video, which will be the design that I put on this hand. And fresh out of the oven. There we have it. Now that's a no wipe top coat. So we are good to go. This is another reason I like gel. There's no waiting for it to dry. There's no unsureness of when it's dry. When it's cured, it's cured. And you can go and do whatever you need to do. Okay. All right, so there we have it. I am ready for my und peel base. I may wind up doing a fill of sorts on the rest of these before I make the next video, which is going to be the same night, just later on when I do the actual dip and design. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I think it might involve stamping. So if you're interested in stamping at all, you're going to want to stay tuned, subscribe, hit the like button, let me know that you like this kind of stuff. And yeah, you won't want to miss the next one, because I'm going to try some stamping and see what I can come up with. See you soon.